If I were starting the day trying to break into data analytics, I'd start by getting certificates after I'd have my core skills. But it's not to check a box, but I choose certifications that give me an edge against my competitions for a very specific industry that I'd be targeting. Hi, my name is Jeff, and I first became a data analyst over 13 years ago and worked my way up to business analyst consultant at a Fortune 5 company where I've been over a decade. Now I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people break into data analytics through this channel. So I want one of them to be you if that's your goal. So subscribe. And now let's dive into the video. Certifications won't get you hired on their own, but if you use them strategically, they can do three powerful things. First, boost your credibility on paper, helping you get potential interviews. Two, find real skill gaps in your learning. And then three, give visual proof in your portfolio during interviews that show that you're credible. In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly which certification I'd get, which I'd skip, and which I would supplement for today based on what industry that I'm gonna be targeting if I had to start over. One quick note, a few people go overboard with certifications trying to stack a bunch of them before they ever start a project. Don't fall into that trap. Certifications are not a replacement for portfolio projects and portfolio proof, they're supplements. So once you've learned a skill, used it in a specialized project, then layer in the certifications to show that you're serious. So that's the right sequence that I would be approaching it. Here's how I think about certifications in general. Certifications, in my mind, fall into two categories. There's going to be the first one, which is industry recognized credentials like AWS, Microsoft, IBM. Then you're going to have two, which are your learning platform completion certificates. Think of these as DataCamp, Udemy, Coursera, Code Academy. They're still certifications, but they more act like completion certificates. The first group is going to help you stand out to recruiters and hiring managers, while the second helps you learn faster, stay accountable on these platforms, and are still valuable in interviews depending on the role completion. And they both are helpful, but only if they match your goals and experience level. And if I were just starting out, I'd speed through a focused learning platform like DataCamp to build real momentum first, using the skills that match the job search and the job niche that I'm targeting and all the open jobs to get me to a open role faster. So I'd focus on Excel, SQL, Python, and Tableau based on my initial research. Then I'd layer in certifications to validate what I know. And on the side, I'd use ChatGPT as a personal tutor to move faster, get the why, and shore up any gaps in my knowledge so that I actually understand what I'm learning. Now let's talk about certifications from platforms like DataCamp, DataQuest, Code Academy, and platforms that are like these, because if I were starting over today, these would be the ones that I would earn as part of my actual learning and my core knowledge. These aren't going to be high prestige industry recognized certifications like AWS, Microsoft, or Google, but they're not supposed to be. These certifications don't prove that you can do the job. Your projects and your portfolio and your achievements show that, but what they do is give outside confirmation that you've learned the skills in a structured and focused way without skipping steps. So think of them as stackable wins and certifications that reinforce your learning, look clean and credible on your LinkedIn, and build momentum as you move towards job readiness, and also as a visual impressor when you're inside your interviews, because then when you open up your portfolio, you want to have a physical portfolio, and then you can stack all of those completion certificates, you have them at the back, and then they also will be impressive to anybody who's going to be interviewing you. Here's the question, what would I get first? The key here is to align your platform certifications with the skills that actually show up in the job listings in your area. So if employers want Excel, SQL, and Power BI, double down on those. If Tableau and R show up more often, then swap those in. You want to tailor your path to the market, not to someone else's roadmap, and that's what's important to actually getting a job. So based on this, here's what I would choose based on my interests and my local demand. If I lost all of my healthcare experience and had to start over, I personally would go after roles in crypto, fintech, and finance, because that's what I already understand. I understand the business problems, the data workflows, and I have specialized knowledge in these areas. So while researching job listings in my area, here's what I consistently saw demand for and how I'd approach using DataCamp as my example. And I'll be honest, I wasn't making any real progress until I picked a learning platform and committed. And before that, I was just stuck going through free tutorials, YouTube videos, and random courses. That's why I chose DataCamp, so I could just get over the decision fatigue and just started focusing on things, and that's when things started to click. So if you're in the same spot, feeling overwhelmed or unfocused, DataCamp is doing a 50% off sale until May 29th. So now is a good time to check it out if it fits your learning style and if you like it. I'll drop a link in the description below so you can take a look if that interests you. Also, I chose DataCamp because it's a platform that I'm actually using right now. But if you're on DataQuest, Codecademy, Coursera, or any other learning platform, just use this next section as a guide and then just swap in the equivalent certifications or learning tracks from your learning provider. So here's what I would personally focus on. The Associate Data Analyst in SQL inside DataCamp focus on querying skills and hands-on projects. The Data Analysts in Python, so pandas, EDA, stats, visualization, and then Data Analysts in Tableau, dashboard design, data modeling. And what I did was I switched from Power BI to Tableau and dropped Azure as well from my original list because they didn't show up when I did a recent job search and made it more broad to be more flexible. So that's why if you watch the previous video to this, those are the differences that you might have seen. Now, once I've learned the core skills, finished a few solid projects, and built some momentum, that's when I would start applying. Because here's the truth, you can land interviews with just those certifications and a strong portfolio. And I don't want to waste time chasing credentials because sometimes timing is everything. The right job might open up now, not after you finish one more cert. So I'd start applying early while I'm interviewing and still keep working towards more certifications in the background. That way, I'm not wasting time and waiting around, and I'm building leverage this way as well. The first one that I'd start with is going to be the IBM Data Analyst Professional Certificate on Coursera. Again, this would be after you choose and have your core learning platform, whether that's DataCamp, Codecademy, DataQuest, and then you've gone through and you have a solid foundation. This is what I would layer in to make me more competitive. This actually comes in as a change in my strategy. I debated this for a while, but after Coursera has updated this course and their entire section with generative AI, and they also added in interviews and interview prep, I saw multiple people break into data analyst jobs using it and recommending it. So now it's been my top free option. So what I like about this is it covers Excel, SQL, Python, AI, teaches communications, dashboards, stakeholder skills, and then it also includes real world projects and the capstone project. And then the best thing about this is you can audit it for free, but if you want the official certificate, you're gonna have to pay money. And if you're on a budget, this is one of the best ways to get started without paying up front. And then if you wanted to pay and get the certificate so that you have it inside your portfolio, then it's available through Coursera Plus subscription, which costs about $59 a month, which would be, and it's about $399 per year. IBM program says it's self-paced, but can be completed in as little as 5 months. So then that would be about $295 if you complete it in 5 months. You can complete it before then if you're fast. So the only downside that I didn't like about this is IBM uses Congos as its business intelligence tool, not Power BI, not Tableau, which means you're gonna have to supplement your business intelligence dashboard creating tool with something else. But Microsoft, Tableau both offer free training online, so you could always supplement it with that instead. Or you can always go on DataCamp, DataQuest, one of those platforms, and they have different tracks for those tools as well. Here is a controversial hot take for some people, but I would skip the Google certification for my path specifically. The Google Data Analytics certificate is super popular, and honestly, it's helped a lot of people get their first job in data, but I personally wouldn't prioritize it for my niche. And in my previous video, I talked about how I was targeting crypto and fintech, and I talked about that earlier, and did a recent job search to look at open job listings. Based on those job listings, the certification just doesn't line up as well. And here's why: because it teaches more R programming, not Python. And Python, in my experience, is more commonly used in crypto, fintech, finance, and investment analytics. It also uses things like Google Sheets, BigQuery, which is great if you're applying to companies on the Google Cloud platform, but they're not as relevant for teams on AWS or Microsoft. This is why you're going to be seeing more teams talk about using Excel, Postgres, or Tableau or Power BI, and that's where it just didn't align in that sense. But Google is still good because it's platform agnostic. It just would use these as their examples instead of using things like Excel or Power BI. It does use Excel in a few of the cases, but it doesn't focus on it as much as I would like. That said, if you're applying to companies that use Google's cloud tools like BigQuery, Google Sheets, or they're on Google's cloud platform, and you're looking for a broad introduction to business data analytics, then it's still a solid and well-structured program, especially for beginners coming from non-technical roles like customer service, admin, and retail. But for me, I'd skip it and I'd focus on the IBM certificate, which teaches more and focuses on Python, SQL, and gives you more of a technical foundation. And I found a lot more people suggesting it as helping them become more job ready. So that's why I'd focus on this. Next, as I'm still applying and say that I completed my core foundational certificates, now I would stack on cloud and AI certification strategically, but not all at once. And here's what I've decided to take on next. First, again, I check all my research and job listings in my niche, in my area. If a company specifically mentions a cloud provider, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, then I would get the foundational cert for that platform. If not, I'd focus on AI fundamental certifications to future-proof my skill set instead. So if AWS shows up in job listings, I would look at AWS certified cloud practitioner, and then I would go on top of that with the AWS certified AI practitioner, which is using AI on their cloud platforms. Now, if Azure is more common, I would go for the Microsoft Azure Fundamentals AZ900, and then the Azure AI Fundamentals AI 900. And then now if Google Cloud GCP is more common roles, then I would take the Google Cloud Digital Leader and then the Google AI Essentials platform. Now, before you add in any of those cloud and AI cloud certifications, look at the actual tech stacks mentioned in the job listing for your target roles. If you do not see AWS, Azure, Google Cloud anywhere, then it's a good chance those companies are running on-premises infrastructure, meaning that their servers and their data systems are hosted internally, physically, and not on the cloud. So yeah, that's what on-prem means, if you've ever heard the term, is that the actual physical servers are managed in-house instead of on cloud platforms. So that's not a bad thing. It just means that a cloud certification might not boost your relevance in a way that it would if you were targeting a cloud native organization. So in these cases, what I would do instead is if the companies that you're looking at aren't specifically on the cloud, I'd pivot to AI fundamental certifications that still make you stand out from everyone else, especially in interviews where AI fluency can demonstrate thought leadership, adaptability, and job readiness. So here are some of the smart general AI certifications that I'd recommend that aren't tied to a specific cloud platform. Here, Google's AI Essentials is another great one. IBM's AI Foundations for Business on Coursera, and then LinkedIn Learning's AI for Data Analysts are going to be some of the general certifications that you could look at, especially because a lot of the job listings that I was looking at mentions that they want you to have AI skills and that they are preferred skills that would help you land a job better. And I just want to reiterate, you don't need to collect every certification to land a day job. You just need a few strategic certifications. And in some cases, you just need good timing and a great portfolio to show that you're capable and to help you rise above the noise and the competition. So if you're serious about breaking into data this year, don't stop here. Watch this next video, which is going to give you a full blueprint on what I'd follow if I were starting from scratch today. This is going to include a full learning path with the exact tools that I'd focus on and the projects that I would build, including a few updates that I didn't have time to cover here, minus the few things that I did change here. So just take that over and watch that next. And until next time, query responsibly and watch this video.